Can you feel the excitement brewing in the boxing world? If you're updated with the latest controversies, then you've probably heard the latest buzz that has everyone talking. Canelo Alvarez is set to face off against Terence Crawford. Yes, you read that right. After all the back-and-forth drama, this super fight seems closer than ever. But hold on a second. There's a twist. A brutal condition that could change everything. Intrigued? Of course you are. Let's dive into the details of this epic showdown and unravel all the drama that led up to Canelo Alvarez agreeing to fight Terence Crawford, but only with one harsh condition.
Fight!
Chapter 1. Who are Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford? First, let's get acquainted with our warriors. If you don't know who Canelo Alvarez or Terence Crawford are, where have you been hiding? Living under a rock? Canelo Alvarez is nothing short of a boxing titan. Hailing from Guadalajara, Mexico, Canelo has become one of the most iconic fighters of this generation. With an impressive record and championships across 4 weight classes, he's built a reputation for his power, precision, and relentless work ethic. Fans love his style, unapologetically aggressive but equally strategic. At 34 years old, Canelo's career has already cemented him as a living legend, but does he have enough gas in the tank for one last hurrah against someone as hungry as Crawford? Speaking of Terence "Bud" Crawford, this man is a beast. With a spotless record of 40-0 and victories in multiple weight classes, Crawford is hailed as one of the slickest and most skilled boxers in the game. The Omaha, Nebraska native has risen through the ranks to dominate the welterweight division, and many argue he's the best pound-for-pound fighter today. But Canelo is at home fighting in the 168-pound division. Crawford typically fights at 147 pounds. That's a huge jump in weight. Can he handle a much bigger and stronger opponent like Canelo? This fight, my friends, is a collision of 2 distinct styles, Canelo's brute strength versus Crawford's precision and adaptability. But before they lace up the gloves, let's rewind and talk about how this dream match almost didn't happen. Chapter 2. I'll fight anyone, but on my terms. Boxing is no stranger to call-outs, and Canelo versus Crawford was no different. After demolishing Errol Spence Jr. in what many thought would be a competitive match, Crawford had his eyes set on a bigger prize. For months, he openly called out Canelo Alvarez. The undefeated Crawford, riding high on his victory over Spence, saw an opportunity to cement his legacy by taking down one of boxing's most decorated fighters. But, as much as Crawford was eager, Canelo wasn't initially sold on the idea. Why? For Canelo, Crawford wasn't a big enough challenge. That's right, Crawford might be an incredible fighter, but Canelo pointed out that he was 3 divisions below. To Alvarez, the weight disparity seemed too great. As I've said before, I fought bigger guys, smaller guys, older guys, younger guys. I was born to fight and I'll fight anyone, but on terms that suit me best, Canelo said in a press conference. Translation? If we're going to do this, we're doing it my way. At this stage, it felt like the fight would fizzle out before it even began. But boxing fans are persistent, and the demand for this fight kept growing. At this point, only we have to enter a very important figure who would change the course of this drama, Turki Alalshikh. Chapter 3. The Puppet Master Behind the Scenes. While fans were shouting from rooftops for this match, behind the curtains, one man was pulling the strings. Turki Alalshikh, the chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, emerged as a key player in making this blockbuster clash a reality. If you've been following boxing recently, you know Alalshikh is known for bringing big-money fights to the Middle East, giving the sport a massive financial boost. Alalshikh wasn't just interested in staging any old match. He wanted the biggest, the best, the most electrifying fight of the century, and he was willing to pay handsomely for it. When His Excellency Turki Alalshikh first approached the idea of a Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford fight, he didn't just come with a smile and a handshake. Nope, he came with a blank check, a larger-than-life vision, and the full weight of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority behind him. Let's rewind for a second. Crawford had just come off a jaw-dropping win over Israil Madrimov, and Alalshikh was in Los Angeles, eyes set on an even bigger prize, getting Canelo and Crawford in the ring for a fight of epic proportions. Now, most promoters would be dancing in excitement at the mere mention of such a bout. Not Canelo. Alalshikh extended a generous offer, dangling an unimaginable purse. But Canelo, he wasn't biting just yet. Why? Well, because Canelo Alvarez doesn't play by anyone's rules but his own. He's a global boxing superstar who picks his battles, literally, and he wasn't exactly thrilled with how the approach went down. Apparently, Canelo felt that the way Alalshikh's team handled negotiations was less roll out the red carpet and more take it or leave it. In true Canelo style, he clapped back during his press tour, saying he didn't like how the offer was presented. He wasn't having it. And here's where the plot thickens. Alalshikh, who usually stays cool under pressure, wasn't about to take that lying down. If you've ever seen a soap opera where two powerhouses go head-to-head, this was that, minus the dramatic background music, although in this case, it was probably needed. Alalshikh decided to respond publicly, calling out Canelo for what he saw as dodging tough fights and making unrealistic demands. It was a direct hit, no doubt about it. Alalshikh was clear in his interviews. If Canelo is smart, he'll understand the message. In other words, stop playing hardball and just take the fight, man. But things didn't quite pan out that way. After some back and forth, Alalshikh dropped a bombshell. He announced that he was no longer interested in organizing the fight. Yes, you heard that right. He pulled the plug. And just like that, one of the biggest potential showdowns in boxing was left hanging in the balance. So why did Alalshikh walk away? In his words, Canelo's demands and attitude toward the negotiations rubbed him the wrong way, not to mention the involvement of promoters who seemed to muck things up with their lack of respect. Alalshikh made it clear that the fallout wasn't his doing. If Canelo's team didn't play ball, he wasn't going to waste any more time on it. In a way, Alalshikh was making a statement to the entire boxing world. He had bigger fish to fry, and if Canelo wasn't going to cooperate, there were plenty of other big names ready to step in. In true dramatic fashion, Alalshikh dropped a mic-worthy line as he moved on. "I don't want it anymore." Boom. Just like that. He redirected his focus on staging massive events across the US and Middle East, leaving fans wondering if the dream of Canelo versus Crawford was over for good. Alalshikh had made his move, and now it was up to the fighters to decide whether they would continue the chase without his backing. But it happened. Chapter 4. The Turning Point. So, what was the game-changing condition that convinced Canelo to take the fight? It wasn't just the money, though the purse is likely to make even Jeff Bezos do a double take. No, the brutal condition revolves around the weight and size factor, which has been at the heart of this whole saga. Canelo agreed to fight Crawford, but with a stipulation that the fight would occur at a catchweight. For those of you unfamiliar with boxing terms, a catchweight is when fighters agree to meet at a weight in between their normal divisions. For this match, both men would have to meet somewhere in the middle, Canelo coming down from 168 pounds and Crawford moving up from 147 pounds. But it doesn't stop there. There's also talk that rehydration clauses may be added, meaning neither fighter can gain too much weight after the weigh-in. In other words, Canelo is ensuring that Crawford doesn't come in too light, while at the same time, he's agreeing not to bulk up and use his size to overpower the smaller Crawford. It's a condition that levels the playing field, but let's be real, it also makes things a lot more dangerous for Crawford, who has never fought at such a high weight before. Is he ready for the power that Canelo packs? And can Canelo deal with Crawford's speed and ring IQ? Hopefully, the match planned for 2025 will provide an answer. Until then, both men will have time to prepare for what could be the ultimate clash of their careers. Now, who do you think will come out on top in this clash of titans? Canelo's power and experience in higher weight classes, or Crawford's slick skills and unyielding determination? Drop your predictions in the comments below and stay tuned for more updates as we build up to one of the most anticipated boxing events in history.